We saw Jesus Christ Superstar at the Hollywood Bowl, and we know the question you're all asking yourselves is, what's the buzz? Tell me what's a-happening. Well, we're about to with our review of Jesus Christ Superstar, starring Cynthia Erivo, Adam Lambert, Raúl Esparza, Phillipa Soo, and John Stamos. Let's get into it. It's time to go see Jesus. And by Jesus, I mean Cynthia Erivo as Jesus.
What more can one ask?
We can also ask for Adam Lambert.
Well, yes, true.
And Milo Manheim.
As someone. We don't know yet.
As Peter. I looked it up. He's
you did
Peter.
it. Yes.
Anyway, we're going to the Hollywood Bowl to see Jesus Christ Superstar. We are just getting off of the metro line. We're going up to the Orange Court to catch the shuttle to the Hollywood Bowl. Important update. There are new metro gates at the North Hollywood Station. Because you don't just come here for theater, you come here for updates on public transit. So yes, we are currently at the Walk of Fame, Hollywood Walk of Fame. We're going up to the Orange Court to catch the Hollywood Bowl shuttle, because if you have a tap card, like this one right here, you can use it to take a free shuttle from Hollywood and Highland up to the Hollywood Bowl, which we're going to try right now, and hopefully make it to the show by 8 p.m. Can we do it? It's always a little challenge. Will the LA public transit system succeed or will it fail us?
I want the hot dog lady.
We're gonna find a hot dog lady.
I'm so hungry.
Because if we don't, we're gonna have to pay $17 for 2 chicken strips at the Hollywood Bowl. Gerry, give me your review of the hot dog on the Walk of Fame.
It does the job.
That is our bus right there. Here at the Orange Court. We're going to hop on, take about a mile up the road to get to the bowl. How was the hot dog?
It's good, but I can kill it.
Did you get to enjoy a single second of that hot dog, or did it just enter you without a thought?
Coming in.
Who made the bus?
We made it.
We made it. We have 5 minutes to spare. As always, LA public transit ends up really not saving you any time at all.
Let's hope for the metro, because we've always done the metro.
Yes, but the time it takes for us, points for the metro, the B line. Not many points for the Ovation shuttle, because in the time it takes to get off the B line, walk around the block, get on the bus, and then sit in 30 minutes of bus traffic.
Yeah, it took us 30 minutes.
Yeah, I know, it took us, because we got off the B line at 7:25 and it's now 7:55. So it literally took us 30 minutes. It takes about 20 minutes just to walk from the station up to the Hollywood Bowl. So we really didn't save any time. We actually lost time by not walking. It's a great option if you're not able to make that walk. I do not think we'll be taking the bus back to the station after the show. I think we will just be walking.
801.
801.
Our concert will begin in a few minutes.
Remember when this whole thing began? The talk of God, then we called you a man. And believe me, my admiration for you hasn't died. But every word you say today gets twisted around some other way.
Why should you want to know? Don't you dream about the future? Don't you try to think ahead? Tell me, when do we cry? Yeah. let the world turn without you tonight. If we try, we'll get by, so forget all about us tonight.
Do you think they knew?
They did.
Did they put that up for tonight?
They did.
Okay, a quick intermission. Thoughts? It's hard to find space to do this anywhere, so it's going to be like a quick, 1 minute, Gerry. Intermission at JCS Hollywood Bowl. What do you think?
Incredible.
Yeah.
I love this show. I love how different and new it feels with any different choice. And
It's some of the best casting for the show I've ever
yes,
seen.
it's such a
And that is the best
perfect-
thing this show has going for it.
Yes.
I'm not immediately struck by anything like design-wise or like
No,
concept-wise
it's
with
good.
the show,
It's like not...
but it is very much it's a rock concert and there's trusses
is
and
what
like
you should
band,
do with this show.
which is how the show is usually done. But I think I like Jesus Christ Superstar when it's weird, and this production is it's good in its casting, but it's not weird in its execution.
No. But the choice of Cynthia as Jesus and
The choice of Adam Lambert, honestly,
as Judas.
I mean, her best songs are coming in Act 2, but his best songs are no,
he has a good one in Act 2.
no, it's true. But like his opening number, incredible. He starts the show off incredibly with just
So
this
effortless.
Yeah, that was the first thing you said to me was it was effortless in this production.
I can see the picture.
Yes,
Of us?
Yeah.
yes, yes,
Yeah, I can see you guys.
yes,
Good. Thank you.
Oh, is that what you
yes,
want?
Yes.
yes.
But
Because the camera's here, so we want it pointed at us, like this, right?
Oh,
you
it
see
is
both of our
pointed at
faces.
you.
Yes,
Good.
got
Thank
it. Got it.
great. Thank you.
Sorry. I shouldn't talk to you.
Well, anyways, I think we should continue with the show.
I think we should, because my favorite parts of the show are all in the second half. So we'll
let's
check
go.
in after the show. All right. All right, we are back home. It's also the next night, but we wanted to do like a little review of our thoughts now that we had a night to sort of process our thoughts on this show, Jesus Christ Superstar at the Bowl. I wish that we had like an actual like playbill cover, but it's just like the generic Hollywood Bowl like summer program. But now that we've had a night to think about it, Gerry, what are your thoughts on the show?
Oh, are we gonna just
Overall thoughts. So we're gonna get into like a little more details, but like
overall
in general.
thoughts, it was wonderful.
Mm-hmm.
It was what that show needed to be.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think why Jesus Christ Superstar is one of my favorite shows of all time.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the reasons why is because it's such, when done well, it's always such a fresh show. It's an easy show not easy, but like it's a show that if done well, it gives you a full new take on the story. Even though it's such a story that everybody knows so well. And I think that's the brilliance of that show. And I think last night was another testament to that. It made me see scenes in ways I'd never seen them before. And I think that was wonderful.
Yeah, I mean, it's these Hollywood Bowl shows are so interesting because they're only ever planned to be done over one weekend. So it's like all of this work goes in. They get these big casts, these big stars, these big casts in this 20,000 seat auditorium for a show that only ends up running for 3 nights. So in some ways it feels, not just this show, but like anytime you see a show at the Bowl, there's an element of like, we just threw this together. I've always called the Hollywood Bowl community theater for famous people because it is just like, who's free this weekend in the summer in Hollywood that like wants to do like a show on one of the biggest stages in the world. So I really did enjoy this show. I really loved it. I wish that if this was a production that was going to like run for longer than 3 days, I wish there would have been like more detail in the direction and in the world of the show. It's so funny to say the world of the show because it's the story, the crucifixion of Jesus. But I think Jesus Christ, like you were saying, you can get fresh eyes on it when the setting and the take on the text is really specific and really fresh in a way that you don't always see done. As much as I loved the performances in this show and I thought the actors were doing stellar work, I did think that the direction was fairly generic in that, like, I've seen Jesus Christ Superstar done when the stage is like all like concert boxes and trusses and like concert lighting, like you're at a rock concert, because the show is a rock opera and it's a rock concert. But I didn't find a lot of like engaging new ways into the text that I hadn't seen done with the staging being done just in this specific way for this really short run production of the show.
Should you talk about that first, or should you talk about just the cast?
Well, I want to talk about
like the show.
I'll talk about the production overall and then get into like the specific.
Oh, you want to talk about the production first?
Yeah, the production first, because that is where like where most of I'll get my complaints out first by talking about the production, and then I'll have like nothing but good things to say about the cast, mostly. Yeah, how did you feel
the production?
The production wise, like when you say it was such a fresh take. Was that what you saw as like being fresh, or was it more so in the performances themselves?
I think it was more in the casting, and I think and to be fair, I think with this show, the casting is half of your concept.
It is,
and I do think the casting was solid. That was the fresh take for me.
Cynthia Erivo as Jesus Christ. When they announced it, I went, "Oh, that's some of the most insane casting I've ever heard for that part."
Yes,
but that is going to like make the entire show worth it, and it was.
And that having Cynthia as Jesus is a huge take on it, and I think the rest of the cast also supported that. But yeah, I think mainly is that. Obviously, yeah, I also agree that the actual staging was not. It was good. It was in the rock concert world, which I always, and it's what it always should be. I remember ALW has said in like interviews and podcasts that like that's the way it should always be done. So stop community theaters and regional professional theaters. Please stop doing like pastoral version of the show because it sucks.
Oh, like the Passion of the Christ style, like Jesus in a white robe and long hair and like a rope as a belt. That's not
the way this show goes.
No, the show is weird. And I think that's maybe my biggest complaint is I wish this production was even weirder. Like I was showing you clips of this production of the show, like the original LA production of the show, where the concept of the show was like humans are extinct and like amoebas are evolving and finding their own version of religion.
Which I do think that's going a little too far.
It is, but like that's the 70s, baby. Yeah. But I like that idea of like what outside of just being like the story of the crucifixion of Christ, like what. Like how the movie of Jesus Christ Superstar is like a bunch of actors showing up in the desert to like put on a production of the crucifixion. Like it is, even the movie is framed as like, this isn't really meant to be the crucifixion as it really happened. This is like a group of people's interpretation of it.
And I do think that sometimes this show can also go a little too hard on the concept. Like I for example, I think the Tim Minchin version is really good. Like if you see that Tim Minchin is Judas in that one, and it's brilliant. I think it's also, I love that version, but I do think it goes very hard on the concept, and it's very, I mean, I guess if it's of its time, and that's fine because this is one show that's always of its time that it's being done, but it is cool that it's saying something. I feel like this one's a little bit more on the John Legend version. But I do feel that John Legend, because it was NBC Live and it was like TV, made a lot of maybe like, or maybe some cooler choices. But I do feel like this was in the vein of that world, but maybe not as ornate as the John Legend version that we saw in NBC Live a few years ago. And
again, for what it was, for like a 3-day long production, like the choreo was amazing. Like I really did enjoy like the movement of the ensemble. Really cool. It was just like, but it was all still very much like what you would expect. And that's fine. Also, caveat all of this with, we were sitting so far away from so much. Like even the clips I'm going to be including that we got of the show are like zoomed in times 20, and then I'm like holding it on like the video screen broadcasting that is its own like tiny little like small square in our vision.
Yeah.
So
Even
you
the video was hard
yeah.
to see
Yeah.
because we're so far.
And I'm sure this would be a much different review if we were sitting like in the first 10 rows and we could like see the sweat on Cynthia's face and all the things that you see when you go and watch clips that have been posted online since yesterday of this production.
But it was still really cool too. I mean, I guess I'm getting more into the experience. We'll get into that later.
Yeah.
But it was still really cool to see.
Because you have to play this show big for 20,000 people.
And there's
It's a
something
stadium.
about that intense. I do think that I will say this show as a Hollywood Bowl musical is like the perfect one because it is
the kind of show that should
musical.
be done on a scale of this size.
Yes,
Yeah.
because the audience plays into it, and I think that's one of the coolest things that we also thought. Like,
Yeah, you're not going to do next to normal at the Hollywood Bowl. Although Cynthia would also eat in that.
She would. She will one day. Yeah.
Do you want to get into Cynthia? Do you want to talk just
Let's
specifically
talk about
about the
the
people?
cast,
Yeah. Cynthia, Jesus Christ Erivo. God damn. She really...
What a woman performer person.
And just from a casting perspective, the idea of casting a black woman, a black queer woman as Jesus Christ is so... It shouldn't be as transgressive as it is for the times we live in now, but is. We all saw reactions when this casting came out. But the fact that the show doesn't change the pronouns, like Jesus is still him, Jesus is still a man, she is still playing Jesus Christ as a man, and yet her alongside Phillipa Soo as Mary Magdalene, it's like seeing Jesus and Mary, but like portrayed as a queer relationship.
Yes.
And that's maybe more a direction thing, but it wasn't. It was a chemistry thing. Like their chemistry together, like in Everything's All Right, when like Jesus and Mary are like.
That was one of my favorite.
It was one of the best parts
images,
of the whole show.
like seeing Jesus as a queer woman, like having a queer relationship with Mary Magdalene, who was also like. Phillipa Soo was lovely, and she was like dressed as a bohemian lesbian, which I loved. And also Cynthia, going to Cynthia, I did love that it was also they were very non-binary. Like I thought that was so cool for Jesus as well. And
the idea that Jesus could be literally anybody. I mean, that's the
that's
magic
something
of
you're
the
talking
show.
about, you know, as the Son of God, and like God being a non-binary being,
an entity, an energy, a force.
And
that
I think
exists.
Cynthia really embodied that idea in a way because of her. Because it wasn't, I would say, wasn't necessarily feminine. Like there were feminine moments, but it was also very. I don't know. There was a lot of masculine. Like it was her performance was just so full of everything.
It lived in every gender at once.
It really did, and I think that was. She's all like Cynthia's almost like alien-like sometimes. It's like, yeah. I think that was the power of having that, and also there's so many layers about Cynthia. But another thing that you're probably going to comment on is like how this show. Some stuff was transposed, but most of it wasn't. And it kind of...
I know Gethsemane was a higher key.
Gethsemane was transposed, and it was incredible. But also, there were many moments where it wasn't. And so that kind of gave Cynthia kind of made choices to live in that. Like, there were moments where Jesus in the original is supposed to be kind of... Because, like, a high rock scream...
He usually is skrelting.
He's skrelting.
And Cynthia didn't skrelt. And there was power in her choosing not to like hit the notes that are always like the highest high, like rock notes.
But she also made that choice sometimes to be like play that moment calm instead. And so that also gave another layer to the character. So that was also very cool. And it contrasted with Adam Lambert, who I do want to talk about. Because Adam Lambert was in that high range that we see Judas normally in. But I think it made sense with that juxtaposition of both characters in a new way, which I thought was really cool.
Yeah. Let's talk about Adam. I mean, I don't have a ton about Cynthia because if you've seen clips, if you've seen Wicked, you know that like she handled this with an incredible amount of grace and passion and like real anguish in some moments. Actually, no, it's like before Adam, I do want to talk about Gethsemane because I do think Gethsemane was the moment of the show, and really the moment of like the year in terms of like theatrical things that I've seen on stage. Like my thoughts on like the production as a whole aside, like Gethsemane was like the most I've been moved by something, because you saw Cynthia, the person underneath the character of Jesus in her performance of it. The fact that she got like a 2-minute long standing ovation at the end of this song, that is like, I think one of the Andrew Lloyd Webber's like best written songs ever. She brought the power to it without having to always go for like the highest skrelting. She wasn't trying to give the most vocally impressive performance, but you know, it didn't matter because she's still Cynthia Erivo, so anything she sings is going to be vocally impressive. But it was the power of like the acting performance that I thought was really moving in her version of this song.
It's so controlled.
Yeah.
Like, I just think Cynthia is just incredible. Like, she's raw and controlled at the same time. And that's like wild for me. It's really hard to see that, because a lot of times you see rawness or you see a lot of control and technique, and I feel like she has both at the same time, and it's wild to see. And to witness in a song like Gethsemane. And the entire show.
Okay, Adam Lambert.
Adam was incredible.
He's so beautiful.
He is beautiful, and his voice is ridiculous.
You said effortless. That was like the first thing you said about him
because
during
I
the
was
show.
like, because it's similar to what I was saying about Cynthia, but like, I feel like when you see this show, a lot of times you see it's like skrelting, and Adam just like skrelts, but like it's effortless.
There's never like I've seen so many versions of Jesus Christ Superstar where I'm like, that is not healthy for that actor to be singing that the way that they are. And yet, like, there was nothing in Adam or Cynthia or anybody in a show that is notoriously incredibly hard to sing. I love this show, but it is like not an easy show to do, and it's why I don't think I will ever do the show, because I don't think I could ever vocally do the things that are written in the score, in this rock score written in the 70s when a lot of people were on cocaine.
I could do like a 2-week run.
Unhealthy things. Yeah, and for a 3-day run for this version, you could do a 2-week run.
Yeah,
I could do a 3-day run.
I could do a 3-week.
If you cast me as Judas, I will be mute by the end of those 3 days. But like, you're gonna get a skrelting performance. It's not about us, Gerry. No, it's about Adam Lambert. How was Adam Lambert?
He was incredible. He was. I mean, yes, he sounded effortless, but also he is a superstar, and like in that song, it was incredible. Sorry to bring it back to Cynthia, but I just thought that their dynamic together was perfect. Like, I think that's what really made the show for me. Like,
because he is so tall and she is so small.
And she's so small, but also like having him as this character really made me feel for both. I mean, and you're supposed to feel for both Judas and Jesus, but
you could say Judas is like kind of like the protagonist of
in a way,
of the show more than Jesus is.
Yeah. But like, you know, that Jesus is a queer black woman, and then Judas is a white gay man in a show where it's about them related. They're like, because the whole story is like, we are the outcasts. We're going too far. And Judas's whole thing is like, we're going too far. You're taking this too far. And there's something about it being a white gay man telling a queer black woman, like, calm down.
Calm down. We got our rights, but don't ask for too much.
Like, no, this is what's going to happen. I got to die.
I have to do what's right because this is my mission from God.
This is the mission. Is very powerful. Like, I got chills right now. But so that their whole dynamic of that, but also how it reflected vocally in them, again, with Adam being so still very high up like it's written, and Cynthia having a more controlled, calming, and then still, you know, huge and powerful when it happened, was very, very cool. And their physical size as well, because Adam is huge.
I almost like when I first saw them together, I was like, is someone in the foreground and someone in the background? I was like, oh no, he's literally like a foot taller than her, maybe more than a foot taller than her.
Because Cynthia's tiny,
and I think Adam had on like platform boots or something. I think he had like his costuming and shoes, I think, were built to make him look actually bigger.
Well, that makes sense.
Because I think they were trying to emphasize like the size difference between the two people.
Yeah.
But yeah, and even his I thought his death scene was really beautiful.
Yes.
There were some things in the staging I really enjoyed. Like, I think he like uses like the rope of like a microphone cord to like hang himself.
That's right.
Or there's a moment
And
when
she-
Cynthia is bound by her wrists, but like with the cord of her microphone. So she has the mic in her hand and then her wrists are bound by the cord. Like, yeah, there was fun stuff like that. But Adam also, I think, I mean, them as a two-hander for this show, I think, like, you couldn't have asked for.
That was the show for me.
That was the show.
That
was the two of them together.
The
And
rest.
then you also had Phillipa Soo.
Phillipa
Mary Magdalene.
Soo.
One of the most thankless roles in the musical theater canon is Mary Magdalene.
It is a lovely role. I thought she sounded lovely. She did some little rock.
She did. She had
And
moments
that was, I've never seen
where
her
she
do
like
that.
she removed some of the softness that is there for Mary in most versions of the show that I've seen. Like, she did have like a brash bronze kind of like brassy control of her voice and like a perspective on the character and like perspective on like the vocals.
She was giving indie
Yeah.
bohemian lesbian lover. And I was
She was giving Maureen.
she was
She was
giving.
giving a little bit Maureen.
It was very Maureen, and I loved it. I thought it was perfect for them. I thought also her and like the images of her and Cynthia. Even like when there was a scene where they walk hand by like that was like a staging thing, but like they're walking hand in hand, and again it was very this is a queer relationship. Without even the need of making, because it's always like, I mean, depending whatever production you see, you know, some are more explicit with like Jesus and Mary were a thing and some weren't, and some it's like more sensualized. And I think in this one there was definitely some sort of romantic thing between Jesus and Mary, and it was queer and it was lovely. It was two women, and I thought that was lovely to see. That image was really lovely.
I loved her. Could we start again, please? At the end of the show,
Yes.
it's also really beautiful because it was her, and it was Milo Manheim as Peter, which I forget that song is like usually
a thankless role.
yeah, that it. Well, and also like after the show, I was like, you got Milo Manheim for like that, like
He sounded great.
He is great, but that Peter, even more so than Mary, is like that's a thankless role in the show because you have like one scene in the second act, and then you get to sing half of a duet near the end of the show. But it was great. I loved the way that their voices like played with each other. I liked the choice of like you said you've seen versions of the show where that song is usually at the end.
No. It's like one version.
Yeah.
That they put it at the end for some reason. I still don't even know which version. Like, I think it was an Australian concert or something. But normally it is there. And it's not in the movie. That song is not in the movie.
Yeah.
But I've seen some versions where it's more of an ensemble piece. And I feel like in this one it was just a duet, which was good because they like needed their moment to shine. But yeah, Milo was great too.
What about Raúl Esparza?
That
Let's
was
talk about
my
him.
I mean, obviously Cynthia and Adam, but like that was my other like star of the night. Wow. He was incredible.
What was it? Because you were saying like it's the best you've ever seen.
I think
the
it's
role
my
of Pilate
favorite or the
done.
most memorable Pilate I've ever seen. Not that Pilate, I mean, Pilate is a good role, I think. But Pilate has very little of a song. Like, he has that song, The Dream.
He has a tiny little song in the
but
first
it's
act.
a weird song.
And it's like barely
good,
a minute
but it's
long.
weird.
Yeah.
And I think the way that Raúl played the character all throughout was so freaking, like, he made choice. I was like, oh, he's making choices. Like, it's almost like the way that I read it was like he becomes this Disney villain because the way he was like moving his cape and everything at the end.
It was a little Frollo.
It was giving Frollo
And-
Jafar.
And the one from Pocahontas.
Yeah,
What's
it was
his name?
every Disney.
Yeah.
Ratcliffe.
Yeah, it was giving Ratcliffe meets Frollo.
It was like what the villain from Wish was supposed to be, I guess.
Oh,
But like, it was basically. Yes, it was growing, and it had an arc, and the way, again, I feel like the way it grew was incredible to me. Like it took it from like this is the regular Pilate we've seen, and then by the end it was just like, whoa. And he moved, and the cape, and vocally, even the 39 lashes was like, which is just a spoken, at least, but that was a powerful image to me too, of like, I mean, that was, not to go back to Cynthia again, but like seeing a Black woman with the lashes was so moving and powerful and guttural. And seeing like this, like, you know, white Latino man counting is scary. And
Latino men counting, scary. Math in this community.
Yeah.
And there was a moment when he like gets on the ground and is holding Cynthia.
Oh yes, I forgot.
That was like the moment that I thought was like the most impressive.
Incredible. Yeah, because he holds. Because it was like also again showing so many emotions. He was making choices. The man was making choices, and then because and then the crown at the end. Like and I don't know if he had it where he got it or what, but like he places the crown, which I think I have seen in other versions of the show. But the way that it was done again was just so theatrical and so big. And Cynthia's face in that was just like, incredible.
I wanted to point out Brian Crumb as Annas. Again, thankless role. Him and Caiaphas. Caiaphas specifically, who was played by Zachary James. Incredible bass. I love a good bass in a show. We don't have enough basses in musicals. But then Brian Crumb as Annas had this like, almost like snake-like, like effeminate style that like played off of like the more solid, grounded, serious Caiaphas. I enjoyed that a lot. We should talk about John Stamos really quick.
Yes.
Because many of you probably heard that Josh Gad was not able to go on for the Friday night performance because of a COVID positive test. So we got John Stamos instead. Oh, even the name. Well, I wasn't a huge fan.
Well, to credit, I think John Stamos is lovely. I love him. My thing is like, I think Herod is always, there's a spectrum of like jolly Herod and then sexy Herod, and then you always get one in somewhere. And I think this production and the way the number was thought for a jolly Herod,
which is what Josh Gad was probably going to
do and will do tomorrow.
Yes, because Josh Gad is going on for the Sunday performance. He had to miss tonight, the Saturday, and last night, the Friday, but he will be back for the Sunday.
And I do think John Stamos is more on the sexy Herod side.
But the blocking and the staging of the number was more comedic than it was like sexy.
Yeah, and so I don't think it favored him. I think he did great considering he was.
He did flub like one of his like
did
second.
Really?
He did flub his like second or third line
I didn't know
in the song.
So.
Again, short notice. You pull from what you can. You know, the show must go on. It was fine, but I'm excited to see the clips of Josh Gad that are going to come out tomorrow.
Yes, I think Josh Gad is going to be perfect for that.
Yeah.
Like the way that that it's even like the wig and everything. I'm like, oh, I can see Josh Gad being in this. Incredible.
Yeah.
And then were we missing anybody? We said Tyrone.
Tyrone Huntley is Simon.
Simon was wonderful. Fantastic. And then. And just the ensemble was great.
Yeah.
I auditioned for it and I clearly can see why I didn't get cast.
Oh. Yeah, it was a big show. It was a really big fun what you want for a summer at the Hollywood Bowl.
It was incredible.
Show.
Everybody was perfection. Yeah.
Oh, and we should have mentioned that Andrew Lloyd Webber was also there at our performance and like came on stage and did like a little bow at the end. It was really lovely to see little Andy up there seeing his show. He seemed very proud of this production for like making the casting choices that it did. I don't know, maybe he was. I can't speak for Andrew. I don't know, but he seemed like he was having a good time. Well, wasn't I saying last night that it's like he wrote the show like over 50 years ago. Like, so is it still possible for him to be surprised or like be excited about like productions of
I was
this
surprised
show?
that on Instagram he does say like I was always thought that like like seeing a woman be Jesus. Yeah. And I was like, has that never happened? That happened with that, like there was that cast recording that was like all female, which was cool.
Yeah.
But not in a I guess traditionally cast. What is
traditional casting?
No, yeah, but I guess not. Yeah, not not in a non all female cast. So that was, yeah. I wonder. I do feel like with this show, it's the one that like. I mean, now we're getting so many revivals, but I do feel like this show is the one that's like been revived so many times because every time they do it can be something different.
Yeah.
So maybe I don't care. We'll see. I mean, I do care, but not that much.
Yeah.
Good for him, but I'm happy he was there.
We'll talk about the experience of the bowl itself.
Yes.
Because I do feel like a lot of my night was colored by just how uncomfortable being at the Hollywood Bowl can be sometimes, especially when you're at a sold out show.
I've never seen, I don't think I've been to the Hollywood Bowl a few times. I had never been to a performance that was this full. I don't think there was any.
There's an open seat in the house.
Like everything was completely sold.
And it was, obviously the hype was big. This show has been sold out since like 2 months ago.
We bought our
tickets a while ago and we still got so far back just because of what was available. I think next time we go to the bowl, we're going to get aisle seats because we were in the middle of a row and we're so squished and you do not have like, the concept of a personal bubble does not exist at the Hollywood Bowl, unfortunately. Like we were packed like sardines.
And to be fair, everybody was very sweet. We even though we were comfortable, like the stranger next to us offered us cookies because I think because he had a giant picnic bucket, and then the lady next to you was very excitedly jiggling because she was excited, but we were like caught in the middle.
The jiggling was like also like making us jiggle, and yeah, I put it in the video earlier, but like if you're gonna like go to the Hollywood Bowl, the park and ride situation is nice if you're coming from somewhere like Pasadena. Basically, if you're coming to the Hollywood Bowl, you can like park in like somewhere in Sherman Oaks or somewhere in Culver City or somewhere in Pasadena, like park in a parking lot in that city and then get on a shuttle bus that will take you all the way to the bowl so you don't have to park at the bowl because parking at the bowl is an absolute nightmare scenario. But what we usually have done in the past is we'll take the red line from North Hollywood to the bowl, walk up the hill, which is maybe like a 15 to 20 minute walk, which is not that bad. But last night we tried doing the shuttle bus that leaves from the Walk of Fame that goes up the hill to the Hollywood Bowl. Except the problem is that we just ended up sitting in 30 minutes of traffic to go 1 mile up a road.
Don't do it.
Don't do that. If you're coming from a different city like Culver or Pasadena, absolutely, I think that's a worthwhile thing to try. If you're already going to take the red line to the Walk of Fame, just do the walk if you are able to, because the bus does not save you anything at all.
It does not at all. Like I would say, even like if you're going to for some reason, I mean, I understand if you can't walk long distances or something like that, maybe.
No, I'm saying I'm glad this option exists. It's a good thing to have.
But that's the only reason you should do it.
Yeah.
Like if you really can't walk for like a 15-minute walk.
Yeah.
Because it's not even that bad of a walk, but like I understand why in that reason. And also if you're going to do that, get there like 2 hours before.
Yeah, because we got on the bus at like 7:30. Show started at 8, and we barely made it.
Like we literally sat down on the show.
We sat down as it was like the lights were going down.
Yeah. So yeah,
just keep that in mind. And then leaving the bowl is just gonna be bad,
terrible.
No matter what. We absolutely did not take the bus back down the hill because we would have been waiting on that bus for probably 2 hours just to get out of the lot and go a mile down a hill. We just walked. We booked it to the red line and got on a train 45 minutes after the show ended because that's how long it takes to leave. Yeah.
But overall, I will say it was very magical to be in that audience.
It was, like we said,
people.
Cynthia's Gethsemane getting like a full 2-minute mid-show standing ovation is like you don't just get those every day. You don't get moments like that on stage in theater. You don't get moments like that in LA. Moments in theater in LA that feel like historic and epic and like groundbreaking and earth-shattering stuff like that. Like that is the power of like being able to cast these kinds of people in Hollywood in shows like this, even if it's for a one weekend performance, and getting to have an audience like the Bowl.
And and being in a show that's so it's so relevant on the audience, right? Similar to what happened with the John Legend one, I like that they did use a little bit of the audience in this one, in the direction, and we were cheering for Cynthia or Adam, or like there was that feeling of the audience is an important part of this story.
Yeah,
and even
there's a moment in Gethsemane when she says. When she's like speaking to God and saying, "Why should I finish what I started?" And she goes, "No, what you started." And usually it's always Jesus pointing at God saying, "What you started." But in this version, she says, "What you started," and pointed out to us, the audience, as if the audience is God, which I think is a beautiful thought to have about the show. And I wish that idea could be explored more, as the idea of the audience is God in Jesus Christ Superstar. We are the ones witnessing the story play out, and we are the ones who are implicit. Like she hears Jesus singing the song about how bad he doesn't want to die, begging God for it to change, for destiny to not be what it already is, and then for the audience to like cheer and clap and like applaud that as if to rebuke it almost, or like no, you have to die, Jesus, because you just sang so good. That was a little silly the way I said it, but you know what I mean. Like I think that there's something beautiful in that, in having Jesus Christ Superstar be a musical, a rock musical, a big raucous, thrilling roller coaster of a show. And yeah, I think that's a good place to leave it, because we've been talking for over 30 minutes and we said we weren't going to talk for more than 10. So overall a great time. You're not going to get to see it because by the time this video's out,
but you'll see a lot of bootlegs.
You'll see a lot of bootlegs.
Maybe they filmed it. Everybody online is like,
put this on PBS. Great performances. Come on.
That's what they should have done.
That's what you make great performances for, is to have things like this available to watch on PBS. We'll see. But we will see you at the next theater review. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time. Like and subscribe. I hope you liked the video.
Just